Right. Well, I love that. And if it'll help, since I blew out my Achilles 8 years ago in Las Vegas, 9 years ago, actually, I know where the hospital is. So if you want to go grab breakfast at the hospital, maybe that'll help with your routine.
That's right. Promo up front, party in the pit, the mullet, a full podcast.
All is quiet on New Year's Day. Well, that's what we say anyway, and that's how we're going to start episode number 183 of the Promo Upfront podcast off. I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the good time player man himself. Let's call him the Attorney General of the January vacation, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the Mexico are you?
Muy bien, muy bien. No, I'm doing really well. As you alluded to, I'm on vacation, so really excited about that. It's just good to unplug a little bit.
Sure.
The thing that I think you'll get a kick out of is, unbeknownst to most people, I had gotten a subscription to Babbel, so I'm really
Mhm.
trying to learn Spanish, and there are days where I feel pretty confident, and then there are days where
Huh.
I do not feel like it. I just feel totally inadequate with speaking the
Right.
language. And it's so funny for me to like try to order in Spanish to
Hmm.
a native speaker, and they just look at me like, "Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cute," and they're very kind. But it is
I'm
funny
sure
when
they
you're there,
are.
completely out of sorts. But I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, I'll get to how I'm doing in a second. Let me help you out because I did take some Spanish
Okay.
in college and things like that. So when you're ordering, especially when you're in Mexico, right, there's certain things you do differently than you would in the United States. One of them, and this hopefully will help,
Yeah.
taco means taco. So same pronunciation, and I hope that helps out.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I'm doing okay. I think we've shared that I was in the ICU, but feeling much better on that end, only to pick up some sort of nasty cold. My wife was uh, has a pneumonia, getting over that.
Mm.
And so I don't know if I have that or not, but I've been coughing up a storm just in time to get to Vegas. So I'm really looking forward to that. No, but all things
Sorry, man.
all things being considered, I'm very good. I feel very good. It's the beginning of the year, and Kirby, since it is the beginning of the year, kind of got me to thinking, and it got me thinking about you because I know how
Mm.
passionate you are about goal setting. And as we enter the
I
new
am.
year, I'm sure you have some specific revenue goals maybe for Hosman Marketing. You might have some goals as they relate to Hosman Properties and the motel you recently purchased.
Yep.
Knowing you, I guarantee you that you absolutely have some personal development goals for the year as
Yes.
well. Well, if I know you, and I believe that I do, at least I'm saying that, uh, I know you write down your goals. And Kirby, I want to ask you a question. What sort of writing instrument do you use to write down your goals and why?
Wow, that's a great question. Actually, so I've got several pens with me here on vacation as I try to unplug, and one of them is one of my favorite pens, and it's my favorite pen to travel with, and it's from our pals at Shapenco.
Oh,
Uh,
very nice.
it says that flight attendants are here to save your ass, not kiss it, and so it is a wonderful thing to hand out on travel. And this has
Absolutely.
this has like a mixed ink that really makes it easy to write. So this is the perfect pen for writing down your goals, my opinion.
I love that. Kirby, I couldn't have chosen a better writing instrument myself. Now, whether you're focused on goal setting, journaling, or even just taking notes, the only writing instrument you should be using is one from our pals at Shapenco. Now, if you're heading to Las Vegas for the PPAI Expo in about a week, make sure you stop by their booth number 5405. Say hi to Dan, Alex, and Daniel and the entire team. If you're not going to make it to Vegas, uh, they still are kind enough to invite you to visit their website at shapenko.com. Very magnanimous people over there at Shapenko. So
They are. They really are.
you're not going to be sorry you did. All right, Kirby. So I have the upfront section
Mhm.
and I have a little bit of a rant I'm going to go on. So if you will Mexican indulge me, I will rant. So there, oh, bueno, bueno. That means that Kirby just held up a beer. I said bueno, which means good in Spanish.
Beer.
So
Yeah.
again, it's kind of multifaceted education here at the Promo Front Podcast. All right. So I know you've been on vacation, a little bit unplugged, but I want to applaud the Promotional Products Professionals Facebook page because they did it again. And
Okay.
honestly, that page, 95% of the time, is so great. It helps so many people out. It really is
Yes.
a tremendous tool and a tremendous resource. But speaking of tools, there was one who decided to post on, I believe, what's today, Thursday, posted on Tuesday, this gem. I'm going to read it verbatim.
Okay.
Trying to be respectful, trying to be empathetic. But my ongoing rant is that suppliers are far and away the weakest link in this industry continues. Closing your entire business for a week and for some not to be open today on January 2nd. I'm adding the January 2nd part so people can get context. I continue with this gentleman's rant. Good suppliers are critical to this industry, and we need them to step up to become more professional, to, act like businesses. We all eat at the table of our amazing end users who do not entirely close down. Maybe someday suppliers will learn. Now, that came from Greg Marks, who is a Proforma affiliate in Arizona. As you might imagine, a lot of people disagreed. I wrote something very lengthy and specific and then he shut down comments. So a very cowardly act if you asked me. If you're going to write something like that, that is almost intentionally inflammatory, have the courage, have the onions, have the stones to stand by it and deal with the backlash. I think it's even less cowardly to delete the entire thread than to just delete comments. However, this cheesed me off like nothing else has in the last couple months. That post was neither empathetic nor respectful, not even close to it. Suppliers work on razor thin margins, not the 35% we all think we all aspire to as distributors, but they work on razor thin margins, a lot less than 35%. They're understaffed, they're stretched thin, and they live at the frayed ends of sanity because of all the panic rush orders that come in on a daily basis. And many of them need that time between Christmas and New Year's. We're talking 4 business days between Christmas and New Year's. Maybe 5 if you're including January 2nd. But they use that time to do inventory, to repair machinery that might be broken, so on and so forth. Giving staff those 4 days off that time of year is absolutely caring and a humane gesture. That week before Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, and is dead in our industry for the most part. Yes, there are some last minute requests. Yes, there are, excuse me, there are some orders that need to get out. For the most part, it's dead. It is absolutely dead. And I think that's when it makes sense for suppliers to shut down.
Sure.
And calling suppliers the weak link in our industry is absolutely absurd. Without suppliers, this industry, and especially distributors, wouldn't exist. If you think about our supply chain, every supplier could go direct if they wanted to. They don't have to use a middleman like a distributor. Now, that's how the supply chain works, but you know that suppliers have those conversations. Maybe we go direct. And I'm sure when they see a post like that, they revisit those conversations. Bottom line, suppliers who give hardworking staff much needed time off should be celebrated. And I close with this before I hear your opinion, Kirby. Maybe someday Greg will learn that suppliers need to do that to make sure that they run at peak efficiency throughout the year. Rant over, Kirby.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your passion on all of this stuff. So, I had a feeling this was going to come up. So I've been unplugged, but not completely unplugged. And I had a feeling that this might be one of your topics. So I tried to actually give it some thought so I could give you some thoughtful opinions. And to be honest with you, I actually tried to think of a way that I could take the other side.
You can't.
Yeah, I really can't. I really can't. So my couple thoughts on this are, someone really smart has said to me, "Don't should on me." That's you, Bill. Don't should on me. Don't tell me what I should do. Stop telling other people how to run their businesses. Run your own damn business. If you don't like the way they run their business, don't send them orders. But again, it's a little bit like me telling whoever, here's when you're allowed to take vacation. Because if I said
Yeah.
that to you, you'd be like, kiss my ass, I'll take my vacation whenever I want to.
Right.
Suppliers have the ability to run their business however they want to run their business. And most of them, from what I would see, have been communicating the close down for
Yes.
weeks, for months.
And
And honestly, the week between is not that big a deal. I saw a couple suppliers that closed down like really early in December. That one surprised me
yeah,
because it was like a 3 or 4 week. That affects like an order cycle,
that's
but
different.
the week between. But again, it's still their perspective. I
Yeah.
didn't rant on social media about it. I just was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so let's stop sending them
Well,
orders for the next couple weeks. And then I guess my only other final thought about this is we just, as grown adults, we really need to stop calling out suppliers. And I'm saying this to distributors as a fellow
yeah,
distributor.
it's
We need to
exhausting.
stop calling out suppliers. It's an unprofessional way to do business for us who purport to be partners with them. And if
Yeah.
our clients did the same thing, the kind of skewering that we tend to do to suppliers online, oh my God, we'd lose it. And so
Uh,
it's just not a good look.
and it appeared on the same page where someone 3 weeks ago ranted, I am so tired of all the suppliers emailing me telling me they're going to be closed between Christmas and New Year's because it's too much information. So, it really irritated me the way this guy approached it. And I told him the same thing you did in my response. And it was a thoughtful, I thought a thoughtful, pointed, direct, but hopefully well thought out response. And I said, if you don't like using suppliers that take the time to take care of their employees and close down between Christmas and New Year's, find suppliers that share the draconian views on time off that you do. And his response was, I had to bring Dracula in it. And I almost responded, thought, draconian means there was a statesman named Draco in ancient Athens who the most minor of transgressions would be punishable by death. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go do that. So, and I think you said it best, Kirby. The lack of professionalism to uh, call out suppliers like that is ridiculous. You run your own business, worry about your own thing. I'm sure he runs a very successful business and good for him, but don't tell people how to run their businesses.
I like it. Don't shoot on me. That's
That's
one of the best piece of advice you've ever given me. I love that.
excellent. It's a good one. All right. Hey, Kirby, we just talked about goals at the top of the podcast. There's no
Yep.
better way to start off your year with the knowledge that there are supplier partners who are completely dedicated to helping you hit those goals. And of course, we have those partners, and one of them is our friends over at Kanata. From blankets to towels and footwear to sublimated merchandise, Kanata has the merchandise that's going to set you apart from the competition and help you achieve those growth goals this year. If you're going to be in Las Vegas, visit them at booth 1558. If you're not going to be in Vegas, go ahead and visit them at kanatapromo.com. All right, Kirby, please tell me you have a topic for us that is not centered around the promotional products professionals page.
That's correct. So this might be a quick one. This is something I feel like we talk about this time
Yeah.
every year, but I think we do get new listeners, and it's also, this is one of those. It's kind of a good reminder for those of us who have been to Vegas many
Yeah.
times. So this is the time where and people are going to ASI. Many are
Mhm.
already there.
Yep.
But Vegas is around the corner, and I think this is top of mind for me right now because Jade, my youngest daughter, is going to be joining me in Las Vegas for the expo for the first time, and so I found
Awesome.
myself having these conversations with her. Hey, make sure that you do
Mhm.
this. Make sure you do this.
Right.
So real quickly, and again, I know I'm catching you off guard, and I can go first if
Okay.
you want me to.
No.
But what are when somebody says to you, and this, by the way, this would be a great post for the promotional products professionals page. What are
Yes.
some pieces of advice for people whose first time going to Vegas? Because it can be wildly overwhelming, even for those of us who go on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think outside the obvious of wear comfortable footwear and plan out who you want to see. I think those are the first two that everyone always comes up with. I would add a
Which are
couple.
good.
Number one,
Which are good.
yeah, they're very good. It's just I think
Yep.
that's the first couple ones people come off with, and they're very accurate, by the way.
Yep.
The next one I would come up with, and the first one is hydrate, and that means about a
Yes.
week before, start guzzling water, because I will tell you, it is drier than you think out there. There's late nights, there's early mornings. You're going to probably drink more in that week than you normally do at home. That's going to add to it. And again, just the
Hopefully.
dry air, the over oxygenated dry air makes my skin very reptilian while I'm out there. And I'm sure I'm not
Yeah.
the only one. So the more you can hydrate before you go, the better. I touched on it earlier. Have a plan. It is not an easy show to get through in 2.5 days.
Yeah.
I would have a Tuesday where you go see specific suppliers you need to see on your first day. And that should be your day. Help you get a lay of the land as you go from aisle 1500 to aisle 900 and so on and so forth. And then on the second day, after you've seen all the people you absolutely had to see, now it's time to just go up and down the aisles. What catches your eye? And think about it. And this is kind of the next point. Think about what excites you. We get very jaded, no pun intended, with your daughter coming. We get very jaded in our industry because we've
Yeah.
seen it all before. We've experienced it all before. And the hard thing is, especially for a newbie, it all blends together. So
Yeah.
walk at a slow pace, look left, look right, engage people.
Yeah.
And really look for a merchandise that goes, I haven't seen that before. And that has a great application for a client. And then the last one I have, and then I'd love to hear yours, Kirby.
Mhm.
I see a lot of people taking pictures. They'll be
Okay.
in a booth, they take a picture, and then they go on to the next booth, they take a picture, and they look those pictures about a week, 2 weeks later, and they don't remember what booth it was. They don't remember what the project was for. It's just too much. Take a video. I'm in the Kanata promo. I'm in the Kanata booth. I just saw a coastal towel or a coastal blanket throw that I think is going to be ideal for this client. Then it's basically a great note-taking tool, and you can see that you can see the product and all that. That's what I would suggest instead of taking pictures.
Dude, honestly, I have several things kind of thought through of what I was going to say, and you covered almost every single one of them. The hydrate
Oh
thing
shit.
can't be. No, it's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's really, really good advice by you. The hydrate thing, I think, can't be overstated. I was going to say some sort of note taking, like whether you're a person who wants
Right.
to write it down. I think Jade might bring an iPad.
Yeah.
Like as long as you can make some notes. Like I actually did something last year, the year before, where I actually did them all on Snapchat and made a note of what it was, and then actually put it up on my story just to get feedback from clients, and which was kind of
Sure.
cool. But then you have to
It's a
save
great
it,
idea.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I like your idea about the video piece. And then the thing I'm going to really try to do, we'll see how well I do. You've known me for a long time. I'm really going to try and do a better job of sticking with some sort of routine. I think one of the reasons I struggle out in Vegas is that I'm completely detached from my routine. I don't do my
Yeah.
morning breakfast. I don't do exercise in particular. I don't
Yeah.
like there's nothing about my routine am able to maintain, and I'm going to try and work harder to do that at least on a few of those days where I get a workout in or something, because it
Yeah.
is so hard to do that out there because there's just something from morning, noon to night, you know?
Right. Well, I love that. And if it'll help, since I blew out my Achilles 8 years ago in Las Vegas, 9 years ago, actually, I know where the hospital is. So if you want to go grab breakfast at the hospital, maybe that'll help with your routine. The only other
That's
thing I
great.
would add to that, if you get there on Sunday, go to Education Day on
Yes, I
Monday
meant to
if
say
you're
that,
able
yeah.
to. There's so many good sessions. Kirby's got one, I believe, at 2 o'clock. And I think it's 10 ways to grow your business. Is that it, Kirby?
Yeah, 10 marketing tactics. I think
10
is yours
marketing,
at
that's
10?
it.
Is yours at 10?
Kirby's got 10 marketing tactics. My session's at 10. Very
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
mine's
I'm
at
at
10.
11. I'm at 11. I'm right
Oh,
after you.
okay. So Kirby's
Yeah.
at 11.
Yeah.
And I know Kirby's going to be great. He's an excellent speaker. I'm still polishing off mine. Hopefully it'll be good. I'm going to be talking about how to use standards to really level up your business and to make sure you're growing and have the right people on your team. So
I'm
I think,
excited about that one.
and there's so many other great speakers out there. So make the time to invest in yourself and get some education
And
out
let me
there.
just
All
tell you,
right. Yeah.
real quick, that was one of the things I had Jade doing. And so she was going through the education sessions. And so she
Sure.
she said, okay, let me, can I tell you which ones I'm going to do and see if you agree? And it was
Yeah.
fun because I was like, I heard the title first and I'm like, who's the speaker? And then every single one of the ones she chose, I'm like, oh, that'll be good. Oh, that'll be good. Oh, that'll be
Good.
good. You know what I mean?
That's
Like, so
awesome.
yeah, it was kind of cool.
All right, Kirby. Let's go back. Let's stay in the industry. We're not going back. We haven't even left the industry.
That's right.
PPAI, the research at PPAI, and I love the research both ASI and PPAI do. This is from PPAI. They have an Outlook 2024, 5 threats to take seriously in the new year. And so these were from suppliers and distributors late in 2023, and they just ranked the top 5 and what percentage of people voted for them. I don't have any notes other than what they are. I want to get your opinion on each one. So the number 1, let's go 5. Let's start with number 5 and go to number 1. The 5th most thing to take seriously, threat to take seriously, brand and reputation management. 10% of the people said that.
Brand and reputation management. Yeah, I mean, if we're just talking about their brand being tarnished online, then yes, I think
Yeah.
that's something you should always be paying attention to. I don't view that as one of my top things that I'm concerned about.
Interesting, because I think that's way low on the list. I think
Okay.
because that's the immediate thing people see and think about you. Let's talk about the guy who posted earlier. We talked about who posted on Promotional Products Professionals. Maybe it was a bad day for him. Maybe normally he's a great guy, but that is his brand in my mind right now.
Right, yeah.
If I saw him in Vegas, I'd think that guy does not have anything I agree with at all.
Right.
So I do think there's a little, I think it should be a little higher. I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I think it should be higher. Just personal opinion.
I can be convinced. Again, this is the first time hearing of this.
Sure.
I guess what it is that I think about that on a regular basis. So I don't know
Yeah.
that it's more 2024 important. Does that make sense?
Fair
It's
enough.
like
Yeah,
it's not because
absolutely.
like all of a sudden in 2024 that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas I think my guess is you're going to get to a couple that I'm like, oh yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. No, let's go ahead and get to that. Number 4, and this one absolutely should have been higher for me. Technological disruption. 13% of the people
That's
said that. To me, that's number
that would have
1.
been that would have been
Even
number one. Yeah, that would have been number
yeah,
one for me. Yeah.
I don't like the word disruption. I think it annoys me because it's overused.
Yep.
But you talk about AI and Chat GPT and Midjourney and all these things, I think that should be higher personally.
Well, and I hear that and I think of ransomware, stuff like that too. And so
Yep,
to
great
me,
call.
that's like that's the
Yeah.
number one thing right now, I think that would be a concern.
All right. 15% of people, number 3, said government regulations and environmental concerns. I guess they were crammed together.
Okay.
I think that's always a concern. So to me, that 15% of people said that. Okay.
Well, and I feel like that's two separate things.
I do too.
So that's a tough one. I mean, environmental concerns, sure, okay, I'll buy that one. Government, I honestly think as a rule that's overstated. I think like we spend a lot of time worrying about who's going to be president, who's going to be this, who's going to be that. Yes, it's important, but on a day-to-day basis, that doesn't really affect my business. I don't think.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. All right. At number 2, 25% of the people said global supply chain volatility.
Okay. Yeah, I got no issue with that one. That's fair. And we talked about that just a couple weeks ago.
We
And then
did.
there were attacks in the Suez
Yeah.
Canal. So I think that's a legit one. That's really good.
What's really interesting is up until the pandemic, I didn't give much thought to the supply
Yeah.
chain because it never seemed to be disrupted. Yeah, sometimes things would be delayed, but stuff happens.
Yeah.
Now it seems like that my head's on a swivel because it
Yeah.
seems to be more constant. And now it's due to, fighting and things like that. And like I said, Suez Canal attacks. It's concerning. I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
All right, number 1, 31% economic instability. I have thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if we agree on this one. And honestly, it's kind of the basis of a little bit of my talk is that I
Hmm.
think that there is a perception that there is instability, and so what do we do when those things are happening, right? Now,
Hmm.
spoiler alert, it's the things we should be doing anyway. Most of the time,
Right.
it's getting back to those basics. But I think that I don't know that that would be number one for me. Okay.
Yeah.
But the idea that it's a concern, I think it's a concern because it's a concern for end users. So in that way, I don't have any issue with that one.
I think it's high. I think it's overstated, like what you said about, government regulations. I think, and we've talked about this before. The economy always is in some state of instability.
Right.
Always. It's what is it instability we're comfortable with, or is it
Yeah.
instability we're not comfortable with?
Right.
During the pandemic, we were very uncomfortable with that because none of us lived during the time of the Spanish flu in the 1920s. So it's something we were all going through for the first time. I think there's always a degree of economic instability, but I've heard for 2 years we're headed for a recession,
Right.
and yet we haven't hit it yet. And in
Yeah.
fact, the economic outlook for 2024, I'd say, is fairly strong.
Yes.
So I think it's always a concern. It's rarely the concern. It's like sales. And you've heard me say, and I know you agree, say a price is always an issue. It should never be the issue. And that's how I feel about this.
No, I like that. I think that so I actually agree. My pushback would be that the perceived world is real, right? And so
Yeah,
I think the
perception is
challenge,
reality, no
yeah.
question.
So the challenge is because it's been talked about so much, because the
Yep.
media has beaten
Oh,
it
I
to a
agree.
dead horse, because that's all we like. Nobody's talking about the high stock market. We're talking about the
Right,
inflation. You know, like
right.
it is just what bleeds leads. And so I think that you do that for 2 to 3 years and people start to buy it. And I think
Yes,
unfortunately 70% of the economy is built on consumer confidence. And when that consumer
agreed.
confidence is low, it's real. So I do think that it's funny, I often relate our industry to my small hometown, right? Um,
Mhm.
and so this would be, I say that one of the jobs of leaders in my hometown is to talk about all the good things over and over and over again until we're sick of hearing about good things in our community because we're the ones who are responsible to do it. I sort
Right.
of think it's the same thing in our industry. The leaders of our industry really need to be banging the drum of the good things that are happening and the good things our industry can do. And I think we got to
Yeah.
do that till the cows come.
I hear you. I agree with you, by the way, about
Mhm.
perception is reality. And I should have
Yep.
mentioned that because yes, if our clients perceiving the economy is bad,
Yep.
then it's time to use that and leverage that to help them.
Yes.
If they're worried about the economy, then things are never going to be more cost effective than they are today. Let's get your
Right.
orders in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can certainly use that. So great conversation there. Do you have
Yeah.
one
That's
more
good.
topic for us, Kirby, or do you want to go right into our final football picks for PPEF?
Let's do some picks. Let's do some
Let's
picks.
do some picks. You got to get back to vacation, and I got to get back to coughing.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So this is the final week. We both went 5-1 last week. Both had great weeks.
Yeah.
You are one game ahead of me. 61-33 overall. I am 60-34. This is our final week because it's national championship week, and frankly, we don't want to do it anymore. So
That's
here's
fair.
the deal. Yeah, here's the deal. It's our podcast. We do what we want.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to pick the national championship game for the college ranks. Then we're going to pick 5 pro games. Are you ready, Kirby?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
He hasn't even looked at these, so he has no idea. The only one he knows is the national championship game just because he knows there's only 2 teams left. All right. National championship game. Who do you got? Michigan upset the Texas Longhorns, and I'm sorry, Michigan upset Alabama, and Washington upset the Texas Longhorns. Who do you got, Michigan or Washington?
Michigan was number 1 and Alabama was number 4, so that's not an upset. But it was actually just as a
Trust
side.
me, in my house, someone was very upset.
Okay, that's fair. But I picked Michigan last week, and
Right.
I just felt like they're solid and had a good shot. But at
Yeah.
the end of the game, I'm watching the game in my room, and Amy, I pumped my fist at one point because something good
Yeah.
from my perception happened, and she goes, "Who are you rooting for?" And I said, "I'm rooting for."
Yeah. Can't even say it.
I said the Big Ten. I'm rooting for the Big
Yeah.
Ten. And so anyway, to complete that thought, I am still rooting for the Big Ten. I actually think Washington's a great story this year, but I think overall, the Wolverines have a hell of a team.
I think if that defense can and be as active in as they were against Alabama, Washington doesn't have a chance. Given that, I am going to pick Washington and the very uncomfortably named Michael Penix Jr. To go ahead and win that game. All right, let's get to the NFL. These are some playoff games, almost basically. These are people to get in the playoffs. Saturday night, we've got Houston at Indianapolis. I believe the winner goes into the playoffs, Kirby. This is also the subtext of this is 2 teams no one cares about on this podcast.
I was gonna say, who cares, Bowl? You know what? I'm gonna go. I think one of the stories of the NFL season is how good CJ Stroud has been.
Right.
I'm a big fan. He's from Ohio State. If you're not following that, I was a big fan of his, but I never in my wildest dreams thought he would be as great an NFL quarterback as he has been so far.
Yeah.
I'll go with Stroud on this one.
All right, I'm
So the
also going with
Texans.
Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also going with Houston. I just think they have a better team. I don't need to, belabor the point and be the redundant man of redundancy. They're going to win. Chicago goes into Green Bay to play those pesky Packers. Who do you got?
So do the Packers have a chance to make the playoffs? Is that
Kirby, I have no idea.
okay? Cool. Then I'm going to vote this one with my heart, not my head.
Hmm.
I actually
Hmm.
think right now Justin Fields is the most underrated player in the NFL.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to root for the Bears because he's been doing really well the last half of the year. And it's like, I think he's better than
Okay.
people are giving him credit for. So Bears.
Well, never underestimate the way Chicago can underperform. I'm going to go with Packers on this
I,
one.
I think that's probably a good pick.
All right. Here's a battle of the Belichicks. New York Jets go up to New England and play the Patriots in a game few people will watch. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Kirby just kind of
God.
fake vomited.
Yeah. Like I truly, and again, not that I dislike those teams, but who cares? Neither of them are any
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Jets. I think Saleh's still
Okay.
trying to keep his job.
Well, he's gotten the vote of confidence, so he's going to be back, and the GM's going to be back next year. An actual vote of confidence that they will be
Yeah,
back, not we'll evaluate at the end of the season.
right.
They're going to be back. Um,
Okay.
I am also going to go with the Jets. I think they're just a better team than two bad teams. Do you know what Jets stands for, Kirby? Quick little trivia question.
Go for it.
Just
I don't.
end the suffering. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's fair.
Seattle is going to go into Arizona, who's coming off a giant win beating the Philadelphia Eagles. Who do you got? You got two birds. You got a Seahawk
Yeah,
and you got a Cardinal.
yeah. And where's it at?
That's in Arizona.
So you don't have the big home field advantage for Seattle.
Mm.
Yeah, I think good teams do things 2 weeks in a row, and I don't think Arizona is a good team, so I'll go Seahawks
Yeah.
on that one.
I had the same exact justification. They're coming off that win. They think they're all hot because they beat a quickly declining Eagles team.
Yeah.
They're not going to beat Seattle. Last pick of the year. Buffalo is going into Miami to play for the AFC East crown. Who do you got?
You go first on this one.
Okay, I am going to go Buffalo. I don't trust either one of these teams as far as I can throw them. Mike McDaniel, I love his weirdness and quirkiness. He seems like a really fun guy, but man, he makes some really dumb coaching decisions during games. One of them leaving Chubb in, and he blew out he's a defender, a linebacker, blew out his knee. Um, I don't see Miami. I think Miami's kind of on that Philadelphia track. They're declining, so I think Buffalo is going to take this game.
And it's at Miami.
That's correct.
Then just for giggles, I will take the Dolphins. I think
Okay.
you're probably on the nose on that one, but I think that if it's in Buffalo, I definitely take Buffalo. But I think it could be if
Yeah.
it becomes a track meet, then Dolphins are pretty good at that. So
Well, it's the end of the football season, and all those teams had goals at the beginning of the year, and they probably wrote them down using a writing instrument from our good friends over at Shapenko. And if you have goals, and hopefully you do, and even more so, Kirby's a very big believer in this, as am I. It's not a goal until you write it down. It's a wish. So if you have goals and they're in your head, they're rattling around, write them down. It will make them real. It'll make them much more attainable. So,
yes.
and when you're ready to write them down, use a writing instrument from our good pals over at Shapenko. It's going to make it even more magical than it already is going to be.
Yep.
If you're heading to Las Vegas, stop by booth 5405. We're going to get, if you're on the video, we're about to get a look at Kirby's balcony here. It's a little hot. There we go. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful seaside resort there. But if you're going to be in Las Vegas, stop by booth 5405 to see our friends over at Shapenko. And if you're unable to make it to Las Vegas for PPI Expo, head over to shapenko.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. Now, Kirby, let's wrap this up. Enjoy the remainder of your vacation. It is a high of 42 here today in Franklin, Tennessee. So I'm going to use, this is one of those perks of working from home. I have 27 blocks of cheese I'm going to be smoking today, and I'll cold smoke them, put them in the fridge. They'll be ready in about a month or two, and I'll be eating them all year long. So I don't like to generally make people jealous, but Go ahead and
Clearly.
be jealous.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Enjoy that.
That's right.